What is up, everybody? Happy Monday. I hope you can hear me well. I was gifted a brand new Shure microphone, and gosh dang it, I am excited and blown away by the generosity of people. And so here we are on Monday, and I jumped into a meeting for a brokerage this morning where we talked about the power of the interview. And so I wanted to pose the question to you guys, who are you interviewing? Because what I've noticed in the industry is that we don't take advantage of this opportunity, and it hurts us because everybody wants to grow. Everyone wants their sphere to increase. Everyone wants more people to know them. Yet the typical ways that we think about doing that are not this. This is so simple. And so I'm going to actually walk you guys through how to execute a great interview. It's a document that I created. If any of you want it, put your email in the comments or send me a DM, and I am happy to get it for you or get it to you. And so somebody said they're interviewing me, but I don't know who that is because it just says Facebook user. But whoever you are, I'm excited to be interviewed by you. So guys, let me help you understand why this is so powerful. This is powerful because when I interview someone, number one, it gives me the chance to allow someone else to add value to my people, right? My audience is used to hearing me all the time. And so when I bring in someone else, they go, wait, what? That was just Kyle, but now who's that guy? Who's that girl, right? And so it helps us add extra value. But the second thing it does, and here's the most powerful thing, and guys, this is part of why I created a podcast. When you interview other people, they're going to share with their people. And so I kid you not, when I used to do one-on-one coaching, if I interviewed someone in Detroit, Michigan, I would pick up a client from Detroit, Michigan, because they would share it. That person would see it. They'd go, man, who's this Kyle Draper guy? They'd go look me up. And now I'm growing my influence because I brought someone on to add value to my audience. This is the power of how the interview works. And so I want to share this with you guys because this is powerful. This is how to execute a great interview. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's 10 different things that I am very intentional about when I'm interviewing someone, when I have a guest on my podcast, right? And then when I'm a guest on someone else's show, it's very obvious to me the ones that are good at this and the ones that are bad at it when I push it up against this list. And so I'm not going to dig in deep to all of them, but I do want to touch on some. So guys, number one, when you're interviewing someone, do your research. Know the person you're about to interview. No, if you're going to interview the owner or the head chef at a local restaurant, study the menu for 10 minutes before you do it, right? Be able to go, man, I saw that y'all are known for your crab cakes. What makes your crab cakes different? The moment you do that, that other person goes, oh, wow, like you actually care about this. Right? When I ask someone during a podcast something that they go, oh man, I didn't think we were going to go there. It shows the value that I want to be brought to the table, right? And they will rise to that occasion. So do your research. The second thing, and guys, this is the most important part about interviewing people. And guys, if you're just tuning in, if you want me to send you my 10 best practices to do a great interview, put your email in the comments or DM me, and I'm happy to send these to you. But you've got to create a great lineup of questions. You've got to think through in advance, what am I trying to convey? What value do I want to pull out of this person? And you've got to prepare that. If you don't, it will fall flat or it'll just be bad. You know, the greatest indicator of a great interview is when it doesn't feel like an interview, right? If you watch the Jimmy Fallons, if you watch Larry King, if you watch Oprah, right? When you watch the elite of the elite, even though they know where they're taking the conversation, It doesn't feel like that because they know how to make it relational. They know how to allow it to flow in and out of conversation. So it feels like we're just watching two people hang out. We're not necessarily watching an interview. And how do we get better at this? By doing it more often, right? By practice. And so I'm not going to go through all these questions, but I give you a ton of questions. And so if you want these, put them in the comments and I will get them to you. Number 3 is actually listen. So I have a notebook that when I am doing my podcast interviews, I have a notebook where I put the person's name that I'm interviewing, and then I'm actively listening. So when they say something interesting while they're talking, I write it down. It's okay that I'm not staring into the camera. It's okay that I'm not fully present because I'm just jotting a quick note because I might want to go off script a little bit and go, interesting. You said you only do videos on Thursday. How did you decide that Thursday was your day? Right? I'll dig a little bit deeper based on where I think the conversation needs to go. But if you're not actually listening, this isn't possible. If you go into an interview with 5 questions and all you do is just ask 5 questions, it will feel stale. It will appear as if you don't care, and it will feel very robotic and staged. And those are all the opposite of what we want to try to do. All right. Number 4 is be a mirror. What this means is you want to try to mirror the energy, the presence, the body language of the guest that you have on the show. So if I'm interviewing someone, if they're leaned in, I'm going to lean in. If they're leaned back, I might pull my mic back and I might, lean back a little bit. I want to mirror what they're doing because if they're laid back and chill, but I'm all up here and I'm super intense, well, that creates an awkward moment in the show because we're not matching the energy of each other, right? So we've got to understand this. Number 5 is be conversational. I was on a podcast the other day, and it was the company's podcast. It was their first podcast ever, and so afterwards, I said, "Hey, can I give you some feedback?" And she said, "Yeah, absolutely." I said, "Just remember, you're allowed to talk too, right? Like your job isn't just to ask a question and shut up. You're a part of this conversation, right?" And so she said, and when I told her that, she was like, "Yeah, there was a couple times I wanted to add something and I chose not to." And I told her, I said, I could tell that you wanted to jump in, but you didn't know how to, or if you were allowed to, right? And so don't feel like you just have to ask the question and then go hide in the corner. You have value to offer as well, but allow it to be conversational. You don't want to dominate the conversation. There's a reason why they're the guest, but be conversational. And there's some tips that I've got inside of there. If you want them, put your email in the comments and I'll get them to you. Number 6, guys, is don't be a silence killer. This is probably the most expert level tip on my list because here's what being the silence killer is. What's up, Luke? Good to see you, bro. Being a silence killer is when I ask a question that the guest wasn't prepared for. Good guests are going to pause because they're collecting their thoughts and trying to identify how they want to articulate this answer. So what a lot of newbies, right, a lot of rookie interviewers do is they allow that silence to be awkward, and so they jump in and try to say something else. Just let it breathe, right? Give them a moment to collect their thoughts and let them answer. You don't have to be the silence killer because most likely you're going to get the best answer on the whole podcast, on the whole interview, on the whole video because you gave it room to breathe. Number 7, guys, be genuinely curious. When I am doing any sort of interview, I try to forget that this is about business. I try to forget that I'm hoping to gain something from this in the future, right? And I just try to treat it like two people having a conversation that I'm genuinely interested in. And so I'm listening for them to say things so that I can go, oh my gosh, I've never thought about it like that before. That's fascinating, right? And I'm also, and don't miss this, I'm prepping the listener for when they should be impressed. Because if you're listening and then I go, oh my gosh, that was so good, say that again. Well, if you weren't paying close attention because I did that, now you're going, oh, I need to be paying closer attention. I need to let this matter a little bit more, because if it mattered to Kyle, it probably should matter to me, right? This is what being genuinely curious looks like. And then the last three, number 8, guys, check your ego at the door. When you are doing an interview, it's not about you. It's not about you. And I've listened to some horrendous interviews where the interviewer wanted to talk the whole time. They're talking over their guest. They're interrupting their guest. They're deciding that it's more about them than it is about the guest. And it is awful. So you should be doing these to create value for others. Will you benefit? 100%. But that can't be the focus, because if it is, it'll feel that way. Do I want my podcast to grow my brand? Of course I do. But that is like the third or fourth most important reason for why I do it. Because if you let that be number one, your selfishness will bleed into every interview you ever do. And people will feel it. It'll always come back to you. It'll always be about you. You'll always be trying to get your plug in. Check your ego at the door. Number 9, start with praise. I have done, I'm learning to do a better job of this in my own podcast, because at first I just wanted to jump into the conversation and I would forget to tell the listeners like why this person is so awesome. And so have a rap sheet. Don't read their bio. I'm not a fan of reading people's bios. Pick a few bullet points that make them look like a rock star and do that, right? So again, for me, I have an episode hitting live tomorrow with Krista Mayshore, who is a big real estate coach out on the West Coast. And so I got on her website and I just rattled off a couple facts. 17 years in a row, top 1% of realtors nationally, sold almost 2,000 houses in her career, coached over 1,000 realtors or thousands of realtors to do the same thing, right? Just a few bullet points. I don't need to read an entire bio and make it super boring. So start with praise of the person you're interviewing. And then the last thing, guys, and this is huge. This is the most important part. Coach them on how to get the most out of sharing the interview. So I have a sheet that I will send people if I feel like they need it, where it will kind of coach them through, here's what I would do with this interview. Share it on Facebook. Put this part on Instagram, right? And I will prepare them for how to get the most out of the share for them, right? It's going to benefit me. I'm going to value from it. But that's not why I'm doing it in this moment. I'm trying to help them maximize their exposure, because guys, Zig Ziglar said it best, and he said it in this book that I'm reading. And so I'm just going to read it from the book so that I don't screw it up. He says this: you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. That's it. If you will make this, guys, about elevating others, you will be blown away at what it also turns around and does for you. So I hope this has been helpful. Again, if you want this top 10 list, I would happily send it to you. Just put your email in the comments, send me a DM so I know who and where to send it. Guys, have an unbelievable Monday. And let's end it like this. Do something today that will challenge you. Go live. Do your first TikTok, right? Do something that is going to stretch you and take you beyond where you've already gone. And it's an honor to get to serve in some capacity with you guys. Love y'all. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.